guys, I'm Lois and this is my 2002 Ford Transit high top van. Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the van build series. In episode 1 I went through the reason why I decided to do the build, and if you haven't seen that, click the link that's shown somewhere on this screen right now. I've had so much love for the first video, and really this series is all about showing you that if I can do it, you can do it too. In this episode we're getting down and dirty into the nitty gritty. I'll be transporting you back to the old Lois, who'll be taking you through 4 things. We'll be going through cleaning and clearing the van to prep it for all the work that you're going to be doing, measuring and building the structure, fixing the rust and leaks because it was an old van and needed some TLC, and putting in the rear windows, skylights and taking out the bulkhead. Watch it all the way through because there are some really good tips and tricks. But in the future, if you want to go back to a specific section in the video, I put some timestamps in the description, so click the arrow to open it up if you're on your phone, or the show more button now on your laptop. Remember to also get your copy of the van conversion guide if you haven't already. It's a huge 60-page in-depth step-by-step guide about how I built the van, and has a list of over 160 products that I used to convert the van, including links to where you can buy them in the UK, USA and Spain. Plus, it's got loads of other recommended resources that you can use in your own van conversion. The link is in the description, so go ahead and check that out. Anyway, enough from present day Lo, let's travel back to December 2018. Hi guys, I'm Lois and this is my 2002 Ford Transit high top van. Over the next couple of weekends I'm going to be converting her into a camper van, and I'm going to take you guys along on the journey with me. So let's get into it. And I just thought I would show you where I'm working. So right next door I've got a little container. It's a 5 meter squared container which I'm going to be doing all the work in. And the van is parked in this little spot in the corner over there. But I've taken her out today to work on it next to the container. So the first thing you want to do is to remove the floor and all the side panels to see what's behind it and underneath it, just in case there's any additional rust that you might need to fix in the future. So I removed all of these, and then I actually numbered them and wrote where each panel was, just in case I wanted to use it as templates in the future. So I went ahead and labelled them and then put them in my container. As you can see, as a one-woman band, it's not that easy, but you can do it. If I did, you can do it too. It is really dirty. This should be white. Okay, so I've cleaned the van as well as I can for now, but there seems to be this kind of like rubbery material that kind of just comes off. Maybe it's some kind of like soundproofing or something, I don't know, but I think that I need to take this off as well, and I hope I don't find anything underneath. I started taking it up with a screwdriver because it was all I had, but it was so hard to get up. Honestly, if you have a better tool to do this, definitely use it. So I've been looking on my phone to see if there are any car washes around here. It's a bank holiday today, it's Saturday, but it's bank holiday here, so I don't know if they'll be open anyway. But there's a car wash nearby, so I'm going to go and see if I can get a power, like one of those things that squirts water at a really high water pressure thingy majiggy, to see if I can get like the rest of the stuff out. Okay, so basically the car wash is closed like I thought, so I'm gonna have to clean it all myself, like on my knees, hands and knees. So yeah, let's go. Unfortunately, there was no water source where I was building the van, so I had to bring like 8-litre jugs of water with me every time I needed to clean it. I also went real basic with the tools that I used to clean the van. Honestly, the pressure washer would have just been so much easier. If you can do that and you can find one that's open, go ahead and do that. Just wanted to show you the difference. This hasn't been cleaned and this section has. Like, there is literally like a huge difference. So this is going to be a lot of work, a long time, maybe 2 hours. As you can see, I'm using like a makeshift bucket. I don't know why I didn't buy a proper bucket, but clearly trying to be as budget as possible. Good morning everyone, and welcome to day 2 of the van build. So today what I'm going to work on is measuring everything out for the wooden battens that are going to be the main structural support of all the furniture. I already know the measurements because I did them and I've drawn them out. Unfortunately I can't go and buy the battens today because the stores are closed. What I'll do is I'll measure everything out as closely as possible. This is for the furniture to be screwed, glued and bolted into. So it needs to be quite precise and quite structurally strong, sound. I'm also going to work on trying to get the rest of this rubber stuff off the floor because I was kind of over it yesterday because I only had a screwdriver. But now I've got a scraper which hopefully will help me get the rest of it off. Yeah, we'll see what else we can do today. Maybe the bulkhead too, because there were some screws that I couldn't get loose, so we'll try them today. But otherwise there's not much to do because I can't go and buy things. So yeah, let's just get into it. As I mentioned, I'd already kind of measured things in the van and I went ahead and taped it out. But as a rule of thumb, you always want to measure twice to cut once. Or in my case, measure like 5 times and cut 3 times. Okay, so this is what I've drawn. You can see where I've put arrows and then a number underneath. That is how long I need the batten to be. So you can see that this one here is going to be across the back. 177, probably a little bit shorter again because of the plywood, but at least 177 so then I can cut some off. This one here is going to be across the middle, so that's the bed area. So now I've done the kind of floor plan of the battens. Now I need to do the side panels. So what I've decided is for the kitchen area, which is going to be, this is the front of the kitchen. What I'm going to do is, because I don't want to drill any holes into here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have one batten here. So this is the edge of the kitchen, by the way, right here. So I'm going to have one batten here and one screwed into, bolted into here. So I'm going to have them bolted onto this and that one at the end. It's going to come up to about here, I think, 105. Plus the floor and the insulation and stuff, which will support the worktops and the other shelves and stuff. So just for you to see, this is what the drawings look like. This is the floor plan, this is the ceiling, this is above the door frame, above the cab, the right hand side and the left hand side. And if you can, well, let's not zoom in on that one, that's messy, but if you can see, I've said how long each batten needs to be and where they're going. And then this is the actual drawings that I'm working off. I did these a couple of months ago. This is hopefully what it's going to look like, maybe slightly different. Let's see if it turns out like this. The battens I bought were 3 meters in length, so I went ahead and cut them based on the measurements that I had done earlier. Like I said, I measured 5 times and cut like 3 times just because I wanted a really precise fit, and I also made sure to sand down the ends as well. I started with the back one first, and then I just went and kind of placed all the battens where I thought they should have been, measured them out, marked it out, and cut them. And I did that with basically all of the battens, as you can see. So I've just shown you what I've done. I've laid out all the battens for everything to be glued into. Unfortunately, I'm missing a piece right there of 34 centimeters. See, it's very uneven, so there's like gaps and stuff. There's a gap underneath because right here there's a dip. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some of the old wood, old floor, and cut it to just kind of slide it underneath to hope it stays in place. I did the same process of measuring, marking and then cutting for the battens for the walls as well, as you can see here. My van also had pre-drilled holes already, so what I'm showing you there is the markings that I marked on the wood for where I'm going to bolt the wood to the van. So I made a few markings, drilled the holes and then attached them with bolts to the side. You want to try and be pretty precise with this step because you don't want to end up with loads of holes in your wood. I'm quite a precise person anyway, but what you want to do is mark twice to drill once and then bolt them to the pre-drilled holes. Where possible, you want to do this at least 2 or 3 times on each piece of wood to make sure that it's really secure, because remember, everything in your van is going to be screwed or drilled or glued to this. I didn't want to drill holes that weren't already there, so what I ended up doing for the horizontal battens was screwing them into the vertical ones. Then on most of the corners where the battens met, I pre-drilled some holes and I used L angle supports to just give some extra strength to the whole structure. I toyed with what I was going to do with the floor for a long time because I didn't want to drill holes into the sheet metal, so I actually ended up going with a super strong industrial strength glue that I used to glue down the floor battens, and it actually ended up being really great and they literally did not move anywhere. And again, I attached them with L angle supports. What you don't see is that I use weights to hold the wood whilst the glue was bonding. I repeated the same exact process for the ceilings as I did for the sides. I measured, marked, cut, marked, drilled, and then bolted the battens to the ceiling. If you're doing this on your own, sometimes you need to get creative, and in order to help prop up the battens, I used a spare bit of wood. And to be honest, everything turned out really well. It was really strong. As you can see, I'm doing pull-ups here. The structure as a whole was super secure and strong, and I'm really pleased with the way it turned out. I used a wire head attachment to my drill in order to start sanding down the rust that was on the van. But guys, do better than me and wear safety gear because this flies everywhere. I'm just going to show you a difference of what I've done and what it looked like before. So this is what I've done. Or continuing doing, and this is what it looked like before. So there's quite a difference. I'm just going to keep working on this rust. Okay, well I think that's as good as I'm going to get it. And now I'm gonna go ahead and paint it. But before painting it, I am going to just clean it a little bit with some rubbing alcohol. You want to make sure that it's free of any dust and dirt before you go and paint, so make sure you don't miss this step out. So the paint I'm using is Titan Oxyron white paint, antioxidant paint basically, and I've made sure it's for indoor use as well, and then just this paintbrush. And as always with painting, make sure you do it in a space that's well ventilated, keep the doors open because this stuff is hella toxic. And while this is drying, I need to leave between 30 and 60 minutes and I need to do 2 coats of it. So while that's drying, I'm going to go over the little other areas and paint those too. I did the exact same steps for the other areas. I sanded it down with my wire head on my drill, used rubbing alcohol to clean it, and then painted it with the antioxidant indoor paint. Just want to show you as well what the rust looks like afterwards. I know it's a completely different colour, but it doesn't really matter because it's going to be hidden. So yeah, but it looks like it's fine and pretty sorted. So I found a leak on the roof, so I'm going to need to go up there, sand it down, so I've got all my safety gear, and then paint it and silicone it up so it doesn't continue leaking. For some reason my camera flashes black sometimes. I'm really sorry about that, but just ignore it. But yeah, I went up on the roof and saw that obviously there was a leak, and that's where the rust below had come in. So what I did is I repeated the same process that I did on the rust below. I sanded it down with the wire head on the drill. And as you can see here, a lot of the old silicone or rubber or whatever it was chipped away. So I did this process a little bit differently than I did below, which you'll see later on. I brushed away the excess dirt and dust, went ahead and cleaned with rubbing alcohol, and then again painted it. This paint was outdoor paint as well as indoor paint, and it actually turned out pretty nicely. I left it to dry for again between 30 to 60 minutes. And then the extra step I did was I filled in the holes and the gaps with silicone to make sure that the leak didn't come through again. So the process of putting the rear windows wasn't actually filmed because it was the first thing that I did in the van. When I bought the van, I took it straight to the mechanics and they put the windows in. They chose the windows, I didn't choose them. They got them secondhand, so they're actually a little bit different from each other. But you can see the difference here, and honestly, it was the best decision to put the windows in the back and not the side. On another note, I just wanted to show you the new windows that were put in yesterday and how much light there is now. I will have a skylight here and a skylight here, but there is like so much light now with this door closed. And then obviously this is going to be out as well, so when this is gone, there'll be a lot more light coming in this way as well. But yeah, really happy with the amount of light there is in the back. I also had a really exciting delivery a few days ago. I got the skylights, so this is the one for above the kitchen, and this is the one for above the bedroom area. So got a look at putting there. Again with the skylights, the mechanics did it rather than me because I didn't want to cut through the sheet metal myself, so a lot of the process wasn't filmed, but they turned out looking really beautiful and they were placed perfectly. I'll pop up a little screenshot of where I wanted them placed, and I actually marked it out for the mechanics. There was one above the kitchen and one above the bedroom. And as you've probably noticed, I put it in after the ceiling. A lot of people do it before, but I recommend definitely putting your skylights in after you've done your ceiling to account for its thickness. So while the rust paint is drying, I'm gonna attempt to start taking some of these bolts and screws out of the bulkhead to try and take it out. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so basically I've taken all of the screws out, except for this one, and then these four at the bottom, 5, sorry. So I'm gonna have to try a different way to get them out somehow, or not sure yet how. All the ones around the edge are gone, all the ones around this edge, there's literally just one there, and then the 5 at the bottom. Okay, so basically I can't get the bulkhead off. It's really difficult. I'm gonna have to take it back to the mechanic. The bottom bolts seem to be like rusted into the sheet metal of the van, so I can't get them out. So I have to go back to the mechanics and ask them to do it. If you've made it this far, you're a real one. Thanks so much for sticking around till the end. Hopefully you've got some good information from this video. If you found it informative and helpful, please go ahead and click that like button because it really helps me know you're enjoying the series. Hit that subscribe button to keep up with the series because remember it's a 7 or 8 episode series, so we're only just scratching the surface here. So hit that subscribe button and the bell icon too to be alerted when the next video comes out. I'll see you in episode 3.